surprisingly human.
In an African river, there lurks a super predator. A creature with the combined strength, speed, and ferocity of all the river monsters I have ever encountered. Creating the most horrific yet perfect killing machine in all of the world's rivers. Something bit this fish right in half. My name is Jeremy Wade, biologist and extreme fisherman. I'm on the trail of this terrifying monster, and it's going to take all my skills as a fisherman to capture one. This is a story from the heart of Africa, of a cursed beast that preys on the unsuspecting. Its powers are legendary, its ferocity the stuff of nightmares. On the banks of an African river, a young girl is playing. She enters the water as she has done hundreds of times before. Around her waist is a belt made from shiny bottle caps. What she doesn't know is that today, in this spot, there lurks a monster. A creature of terrifying appearance, like a relic from prehistoric times. Armed with bone-crunching jaws as powerful as a hyena's, it is as secretive as a crocodile and as deadly as a great white shark. This super predator is only found in the most inaccessible part of the most inaccessible river on Earth. Very few outsiders have ever heard of it, and even many of the locals have never seen it. I'm heading to Central Africa, to the Congo River, to track down and catch one of these elusive killers, to see if this creature really does deserve its reputation as a supreme underwater predator. The first thing any fisherman does when he goes to a new place is to go and check out the river, but nowhere else in the world would you expect to be greeted by a sight anything at all like this. This massive river is second only in flow and area to the Amazon, draining a huge swathe of Africa, half the size of the US. That's the Congo River. To reach this point, it has run nearly 3,000 miles, crossed the equator twice, and narrowed from 10 miles at its widest to around a mile here, where it splits the two war-ravaged capital cities of Kinshasa and Brazzaville. From here, it plummets nearly 1,000 feet in a series of rapids to the Atlantic Ocean, almost 300 miles away. And wherever there is a river, there are humans hardwired to seek out its fish. It's hard to believe, but many species of fish can survive fast-flowing rapids like these. Weda is one of only a handful of fishermen who choose to fish these waters. I've been seeing what the local guys use here. I am slightly embarrassed using such, gear, which is sort of very expensive in comparison. But I actually think, this will stand a chance of getting out large fish from here, which the bamboo and lighter line doesn't do, perhaps. The creature I'm pursuing is a voracious predator. Okay. So there's the hook. That not only attacks the small fish these fishermen are after, but will also take a chunk out of a crocodile. It's the Goliath tigerfish, Not just one of the top predators here, but among the most ferocious freshwater predators in all the world's rivers. Goliath tigerfish are said to grow 6 feet long and weigh in excess of 100 pounds. They have jaws packed with razor-sharp interlocking teeth. And with their streamlined body and huge tail, they are capable of incredible bursts of speed when striking prey. Their ferocity when hunting is legendary. The fishermen tell me there's someone I should meet who has a unique way of fishing these waters. This is Philippe Tenta. He fishes these rapids with a net.
That is the scale of a Goliath tigerfish, which he caught the day before yesterday. Combien de kilos?
30 kilos.
30 kilos. Ici. Ooh. 70 pounds here. That's a big old tigerfish. Teeth on it probably like that, you know, so, you know, just the thought of that kind of fish in this kind of water. Don't get much more extreme than that.
He's about to check his nets.
So you've got cable where it's going over the rocks, and here we go, here's the net coming in.
As would be expected, fishing with nets in such turbulent water is not without its problems.
The net's actually, it's stuck.
I have no idea what he plans to do about it. But I wasn't expecting that. Jumping into these waters is nothing short of suicidal. But I realise now that this is something he must do on a daily basis. If people call me an extreme fisherman, what does that make him?
I mean, I know he knows what he's doing, but to me it just looks like the most insanely dangerous way to make a living. Swimming in this sort of supersized washing machine type water with a net which is, you know, designed to catch things. All this effort, and there's actually nothing in this net, so we're just going to redeploy a fresh net. And it is just mind-boggling. You know, you just wouldn't get me doing that.
That kind of fishing seems very reckless to me, but this is a country where people are forced to go to extreme lengths simply to survive. Philippe tells me about a man whose father was attacked by a Goliath tigerfish, so I head to a suburb of Brazzaville, the capital of the Republic of Congo, to meet Jean-Pierre Mombele. The attack on his father is the stuff of nightmares. I'm in Africa, beside the Congo River. I've tracked down Jean-Pierre Mombele, a fisherman with a story to tell. He shows me a macabre souvenir, a scale that he took from the massive Goliath tigerfish that attacked his father.
And it sounds like he was a specialist fisherman for tigerfish. He was fishing on his own. He didn't come back one day, and they are known to jump out of the water. They're very, very fast, and they have just got these wickedly sharp teeth. Sometime later, they found the boat, but with nobody in. But there was a fish in the boat. There was a fish with a hook in its mouth, and then when they looked some distance away, his body was there as well. And the thing that's particularly horrifying is it sounds like there were marks on his father's throat. It sounded like he was standing up in the boat, and a freak accident. It sounded like the fish actually jumped out of the water and bit him on the throat.
Mombele's story raises a few questions, but this is the second account of a Goliath tigerfish attacking and killing a person. But to stand any chance of catching a Goliath, I need to head upstream to a less densely populated part of the river. I want to see for myself if this fish really deserves its reputation as an indiscriminate killer. Success in fishing is largely about preparation, and I use the journey north to begin the groundwork.
Catching the fish is very, very much about getting local intelligence, and there's no way you can get that without talking to people. And where I'm going, they're not going to speak English, and actually having left the capital, not very many are even going to speak French. So I'm brushing up on my Lingala, which is the language they speak on the Congo River. It's the trade language that everybody speaks, as well as the other little local languages.
The Goliath tigerfish is the ultimate freshwater predator, combining characteristics from all the other river monsters I have ever battled. It has the bloodthirsty reputation of the piranha, dentition more fearsome than the payara, the cunning of the Wells catfish, and the strength of the piraiba. Add to that the athleticism of the arapaima and a bony head to rival that of the alligator gar. And it's clear I'm going to have to draw on all of my past experiences to catch one.
Basically, I've got some pretty serious treble hooks, and I'll be using this kind of wire. If I was just to use ordinary fishing line down to the hooks, the Goliath tigerfish is just going to chomp straight through it. So I'm using this kind of stuff. It's a breaking strain of 175 pounds.
Just 100 miles upstream from Brazzaville, we arrive in the section of river where the young girl was attacked and killed by a Goliath tigerfish. But that was on the opposite bank, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I don't have papers for the DRC. With the country still experiencing unrest, I can't risk going there. I stop and chat to some fishermen. They show me a tiny Goliath tigerfish that they have just caught. Something which looks like a piranha, but this is just a baby Goliath tigerfish. These things grow to the size of a person. This confirms that it could be a good place to start fishing.
So we've got a lump of rock here, cliff, some boulders at the bottom. The current comes down, gets deflected out into the middle, and we've got this nice eddy here. So I'm actually fishing off the back of the boat, letting the back current take it. But it's classic ambush predator country. But I've got the bait about 50 yards down from the boat. I'm feeling hopeful, something could take that. Fish on!
Which is the deepest river in the world? Is it A, the Nile, B, the Mekong, or C, the Congo? I ask, which is the deepest river in the world? The answer is C, the Congo, which is 730 feet at its deepest point. That's 5 times the height of the Statue of Liberty.
Fish on! Fish on! The bait went round the corner. I lost sight of the float. And I just pulled on the line. I was retrieving it, and suddenly there's a wrench on the rod. Ah! Look at that. That's tigerfish. There we go, chung, chung, chung. And what's in, you know, it would have had a really good mouthful of that, of the hook as well, but failed to get a good hook up. Ah.
A little further upriver is the village of Maipili, where I set up camp. As night draws in, I'm left to ponder my near miss. I had the right spot, but I had underestimated the animal. It just spat out my treble hook with contempt.
I've been talking to some of the people here and they just say, well, you know, just use loads of those, maybe 10 on the line and something's going to hold. But it's not just a case of the more the merrier. You know, I think that might hook something fairly well, possibly, but that amount of metal wear might actually put something off from actually coming along and taking the bait in the first place. And the other thing is, if something actually grabs hold of that, the pressure that I'm exerting is divided over 9 points. On the other hand, something like that, it's a bit of a compromise. I've got a big treble hook on the end, and then I've got a single hook further up. You know, if just that single hook gets a hold, I've got a lot of pressure that can actually work that into the bone of the fish's mouth.
The Goliath's reputation as a fierce predator has immortalised it in local culture. Known by the Congolese as Mbenga, it crops up again and again in tales of mutilation, human death and sorcery. The next day I head out with a more substantial rig. I've got some artificial lures with me, but everybody here tells me this predator is most likely to hit a bait that is alive.
Okay.
Goliath tigerfish are active hunters. As well as having good eyesight, they can also detect vibrations in the water, which can lead them to prey. But does the Mbenga intentionally target people? Or is there another reason to explain the attacks that I've heard about?
I've just got this on the clicker, on the ratchet. And if it's actually in the full current, that's just pulling that away. But the fact that that is just holding nicely is good. It's in a little quiet pocket of water, relatively quiet, out in the current, and that's just what I'm looking for. That's just where a predator would wait without expending too much energy, where there's not too much current. It might be off, damn, it's off! Ah! Oh, no question about me putting pressure on that or not. The float just shot under. That fish was tearing away. Ah! Wow. Look at that. Look at that. That's the kind of thing you'd expect to see if you're shark fishing. This is fresh water. Something down there just bit this fish right in half. One thing I must admit that's going through my mind, you know, I've heard these stories of people getting attacked, and just looking at the state of this fish, you know, it really does make you realise what a mess that would make of a person if it went for your arm or your leg or anywhere else. Like the girl I heard about who had a fish actually grab her torso.
The morning after, I'm called to meet the village elders. They have stories to tell me about attacks by Mbenga on people from the village.
The story that's emerging is that if you live here and you go to the water every day, then there are certain things that you should try not to do. Anything that goes in the water that moves, that creates a disturbance. If you put a little baby in the water,
it seems that the sound of splashing in the water attracts them. But it wasn't just the sound that attracted the Mbenga to the little girl who was killed on the other side of the river.
They're being bitten maybe on the hands and the arms. They say anything that shines, if you've got a shiny watch or a bracelet or something like that, there is a risk.
On that day, she was wearing a belt around her waist made from shiny bottle caps. Her waist is exactly where she was attacked. But it is only later, when I find out where the belt had come from, that I discover the heartbreaking irony of this story. A fatal attack on the banks of the Congo River. A young girl is killed by a Goliath tigerfish because she was wearing a shiny belt.
There's a type of traditional protection. It sounds like a sort of a wristlet or an amulet. And it will protect you against carnivorous fish, also hippopotamus, crocodiles. It's sort of like a good luck charm. So, I guess these are people who actually go to the water a lot. They go there to fish, they go there to wash their clothes, their pots and pans, and you never know what's within a few feet of you. So in that kind of situation, you need all the protection that you can get.
The tragic irony of the girl's death is that the belt was given to her by her parents to ward off evil spirits. But it ended up attracting the predator that killed her. Fred has been my boatman for the past 2 weeks now. He has helped me understand the spirituality that swirls around this region like the currents in the river. Together, we fish every hour along huge stretches of the river. But the fish seem to have vanished. It is as though they were never here. I change location and I change rigs and bait, but nothing. I continue asking the locals, and they direct me further north.
Very few things are actually put down to accident or chance. If you're bitten by a Goliath tigerfish, it is because the spirit of a sorcerer was in that fish, and it made the fish do that. For some reason, maybe someone's put a curse on you for whatever reason. And when you're actually fishing for one and not catching one, you actually do start to think that maybe this isn't a real fish at all. Maybe it is purely a mythological beast, a figment of the collective imagination, because at the moment, there just doesn't seem to be anything down there.
But I know it is more than a myth, because everyone I speak to has a different story about somebody who has been attacked.
Des personnes bouffées par un Mbenga. No, just ask them if they know of any occasions of anybody having any accidents with Goliath tigerfish, and they were gesturing like this on the arm and on the leg, and it sounds like a bit further upriver. It seems to be a fairly common occurrence here. Oh yes, there are people around here who have been bitten by them.
After weeks of no results, it's difficult to keep my focus. But I have to, because just one lapse in concentration and I could miss the chance when it comes.
This fish, it's basically a scaled up piranha, and once it gets to a case of being close quarters, I'm going to have to be very careful indeed. I'm going to have to really watch my step and just take extreme care. That is where this fishing just has a totally other dimension. Part of me hoping that float's going to disappear and the line's going to go screaming out, but part of me thinking, well, Might jump. Watch that line on the rocks. It's a smaller one. Hey! That's what they do. That's what they do. That's 3 takes, no fish. 3 takes, no fish. Bloody, that's so close, so close, so close, so close. This was a really lively bait. Ah, yeah. That's another fish. Ah. I'm thinking now with hindsight, you know, if I'd had more ironmonger in there, that might have... You know, just days and days go by, nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, and then one is there, literally, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's just gone in a matter of seconds. Damn! If I put this fish on, just rigged up, normally I could have had it, I could have bloody had it. If I'd had... I think I need to get another bait out there, I need to get another bait out pretty soon. I don't know if we got any good baits. That was the good bait. Ah. Oh. It is an odd thing about this fish, you know, it definitely does exist, but you can almost reach a situation, both myself and I'd imagine the local people, where you sort of forget about it. You think it doesn't exist because you don't see it, you hear about it, you don't see it, you don't see it, you don't see it, and then suddenly, you know, it's right in front of you and it's tearing into flesh. If I had one fish at least under my belt now, you know, I could accept this a bit sort of philosophically, but I've just been here now for so many days. I've had 3 chances. I've just caught nothing the whole time that I've been here. And it really does feel like a test of character, and I just feel that I'm failing at the moment. It just looks more and more like I'm just going to go home empty-handed, having come all this way. And that is just so demoralising. It's like the fish is taunting me almost, you know, the fish is, you know, just enough of a sign of the fish to get the hopes up, and then just dashed.
I head back to the village, knowing that I need some more help if I'm not to go home empty-handed. The elders tell me about an old man who not only protects them from danger, but also brings them luck.
Right, this is the house of the féticheur, the local the witch doctor. On peut.
His assistants appear first, and while we wait in silence for him to emerge, I wonder if the man held in such reverence by the villagers will have the power to change my fortunes. I'm now weeks into my trip to catch a Goliath tigerfish, what the Congolese call mbenga. I've tried everything in my power, but the fish is proving unbelievably elusive. So I've decided to call on a higher level of help and pay a visit to the village witch doctor. The people of Central Africa hold féticheurs like this man in very high regard. His knowledge has been passed down over generations, and his powers lie in his ability to call on the spirits. He uses substances from the forest to create the potions.
prendre. Maintenant, pour prendre ça, pour protection,
Ah, okay.
qui va donner pour protection?
I have no idea what this will involve, but for a small payment, I'm hoping he can change my fortunes.
L'alcoolo, malam.
What he's asking for is success in the fishing, but also protection from the fish. This is a dangerous fish. Don't go try and get one of these fish and actually put it back alive, but that does actually carry something of a risk. It's sort of a lucky charm, and I'm thinking that I'm going to need all the help I get in the next few days.
The ceremony finishes with the villagers thanking the spirits. I'm still not too sure what to think about the ceremony with the witch doctor. But if nothing else, Fred seems a lot happier. It's as though he knows something that I don't. We head out with a renewed sense of purpose. Fred explains to me in more detail exactly what the witch doctor said. He has consulted a spirit of a dead fisherman, and he has said that the place to catch the fish is to come all the way up here from the village and then work down. I've been here for 3 weeks now, and I've had 3 hits, but still nothing tangible to show for all my efforts. Fish on! Fred, the net! Okay, I've got to just keep pressure from above because there's rocks, and I've got It's gonna jump, it's gonna jump. That's the float, it's gonna see the fish very soon. Gonna see the fish very soon. There it is, that's a good fish. Look at that. The net, the net, the net. Careful, Fred, careful, careful, careful. Right, we want to be very careful now. Ready for the net. We want to get the head in. La tête, la tête. Oh, segurez le poisson. Bon. Agora. We got the fish. What we've got to worry about now is it biting its way out. At last, I've got my Goliath tigerfish. Right now, just a moment. Is there anything in this or not? I put it in this morning, it was under my pillow. Like the fetisheur said, it was under my pillow. Today, I took it with me fishing. Now I want to do something that fishermen never do when they catch one of these monsters. Have a look at it, then release it alive, back into the river. The mouth is going, the fish is breathing, that's good. And the gills are going, that's good. This water is nicely aerated, that's a good thing as well. Nah, those teeth!
that will just take lumps out of other fish, it will take lumps out of crocodiles even, and there are stories well documented of that taking lumps out of people. Wow, there we go. Oof. What a freshwater monster this thing is. What I'm looking at here is the ultimate piranha. Those teeth, just like a piranha's, triangular, sharp blades down the side, and they interlock. They interlock almost like scissors. They will just cut a lump out. Two big differences though. One is piranhas hunt in packs. You know, this is a solitary hunter, and the other thing is the size. People who think that piranhas are scary, if they saw one of these things, I think their nightmares might be populated by a slightly different animal. One sort of diabolical anatomical detail on this fish is that it hasn't just got one hinge on its jaw, it's got a double hinge. It's got one hinge here, it's got another hinge there, which enables it to open that jaw much, much wider. So it can almost open like that and just come straight in and take a really huge bite out of its prey. It's just a murderous animal, this thing.
This fish may look inactive now, but once it's revived a bit, there's a danger it could slice me at any moment.
I actually don't want to let it go too soon, even though there's a risk to me if I stay in the water, you know, too long beside it. But what I don't want is for this fish to swim into the powerful water and then just not be able to hold itself upright. It will just roll belly up and probably get sort of battered on some of these rocks here. So I want it to be completely recovered before it goes. You know, I want it to be able to swim off, keeping itself vertical, unaided.
Mm-hmm.
Ah! Oh yes. Yeah. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Muito grande, muito grande. We're having a little bit of a discussion here because Fred thought that we were going to take it back to the village for everyone to eat. And I must admit that is quite a nice idea.
He tells me this fish has been given to us by God.
Mm-hmm. He said even for the féticheur who gave me the charm, who told me I'd have success in the fishing, send him a piece of the meat. It's not just our village, it's the people over the river who've been helping. It would make everybody happy. But it wouldn't, it wouldn't make me, well, it would in one way, but it would make me more happy to put this back. It's going to upset him as well if he sees this swim away. I'm trying to explain the important thing for me is to see it and not to kill it. I think it's very, it's very important that animals that we find frightening in appearance, that we try and understand them. We don't just hack them to pieces and kill them and then look at the dead body. I mean, I want to look at this thing alive and then see it swim off. If the fish dies because it has really, exhausted itself fighting against me and in that very wild rocky water, if the fish dies, fine, we'll take it back for everyone to eat. If it doesn't, if it recovers, if it can support itself, I'm going to let it go. So we now just wait and see.
Looking now at some of the marks on its head, I think it must have bashed itself on the rocks while fighting with me.
It's possible that it might die, but all I want to do is give it the best chance possible.
To me, the mbenga ranks as one of the most difficult fish I have ever caught. But I don't think it deserves its reputation as an indiscriminate killer. Each attack involves splashes or bright, shiny objects in the water, which, to a Goliath tigerfish, resembles its normal food, other fish, and it responds in the only way that it knows. After an hour, the decision is taken from me as I feel the life slipping away from this monster.
It's not going to make it. So, I mean, the good thing is, although the fish has died, it won't be going to waste.
To the people of the Congo, the mbenga is much more than just a fish. It is a spirit that pervades their folklore. Yet many people here, I now realise, have never seen this monster in the flesh. I begin to suspect that for Fred, returning this fish would have meant much more than just losing a meal. Bringing this fish out of the shadows into the light of day has been a monumental task. It's easy to tell myself now that my success was down to my persistence, but I still wonder how much was down to factors outside my control or understanding.
No, no, le petit. Oh. Ah. Okay. Oh. Sécurité. It's never good when a fish dies, but when it gets that kind of reaction, when you bring it in, that's a big meal for lots of people. That's about 200 and odd people in this village. I think they're all going to have a piece of that. A lot of these people actually as well, they won't have seen a fish like that, or certainly not a good sized one. They've heard about it. It is a legend, but they don't see them very often. So, if a fish has to die, or if a fish does die, at least, a reaction like that is some sort of compensation. It's not the ending that I wanted, but it is fitting in a way.
Want to know how to catch a river monster of your own? I'll show you how at animalplanet.com/river monsters.